So what is going on, Duckers? Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Decoy Voice live stream. I think I have the some of the settings are slightly off with the way that the that is set up. Let me just move this. Oh my gosh. I'm always trying to get the settings just right, and sometimes they don't. But let me start to do this live. But okay, yeah. So maybe the framing will be slightly off, but that's okay. I'm really glad that you guys all showed up super early to this episode of Decoy Voice Live. We got a lot of stuff going on right now because it's just, I mean, what do you guys think? Are we seeing World War III happening right now? Because we're not only seeing things rapidly escalating over in Ukraine right now, and also over in Russia, but also what's happening in the U.S., where basically, I don't want to say the country's collapsing right now, but I mean something very close to it right now. It's getting pretty intense right now. So I'm glad that you guys are over here. We got a lot of people in the chat as the channel's growing, and also we got the cat in the background enjoying his food. All you can see is his. How do I frame? He's here. He's right there in his bulky body. So I mean, if anybody's eating right now, it's him. And I'm glad Justin is wearing his tinfoil hat. I will be wearing my tinfoil hat at some point in time today because we're going to get into some pretty extreme things right now. But yes, if we, just so you guys know, this time around, since last time the live stream kind of got sidetracked, I'll still read every single one of the super chats for the live stream, but I'll only read like 20 and above right away, and then we'll read the rest of the super chats at the very end of the, live stream. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. I'm glad we got the super moderator, maybe Sunshine, in the chat. I think we have, oh yeah, Darlene Victor from the Decoy Squad. I've seen Miss Joan of Arc for a long time, so I'm glad you're here. What's up, DJ? I'm glad you're here as well. Sean Doe, Suspicious Character Division Agent, you've been around for a long time. I appreciate that. Rockhouse, Lena G, Shrapnel, and let's see, I think that's about it. I try not to start these things too far in advance. So I'm glad you guys are all over here, and especially this super huge super chat from one of the bigger supporters of this channel, Curtis Reynolds. Thank you very much, saying, "Hey there, caught alive from the very start. Yes, we're currently in a cold World War III, not a hot war yet, but it's coming." So one thing that I want to touch on right now, because I haven't done a video on it, if you guys have seen the TikTok NPC trend where like that girl's popping popcorn with the flat iron for your hair and saying like meow meow and yum 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 whatever food, or like, it's the most bizarre thing, and I'm like, I have to do a video on it right now where, yeah, you guys are calling it Cold War II. I think that China is already just smacking us in the face right now because that's okay. I didn't want to have to pull it up right now, but I think I have to. What is it? The TikTok NPC. Since you guys haven't seen it yet, oh my god, that is an extreme one. Let me try to find a one that's not as nuts. Okay, so this one, this is why I think we're already in a cold World War III right now, because you see this, I just searched TikTok NPC, and this is what they're already doing to our country. Like, I feel like China doesn't have to fire a single round if they can just get our youth caught up in this right now. You guys are saying please no right now, but I mean, just so you guys are aware.
Marshmallow. Crunchy corn, yum! Kitty paws.
Yeah, what is this right now? Other than China trying to destroy our country from the inside out? Because I mean, this is not the only person that's doing this bizarre TikTok trend. But I mean, I'll probably do a video on it at some point in time. I already know what that thumbnail is gonna look like, and it's just terrible. So thank you very much, Curtis Reynolds, for the super huge chat saying, "Is it World War III?" Yeah, we're in Cold War III or II right now, but World War III is coming up because of everything else that's going on. So let's go ahead and just get into the video. If you haven't already, please consider becoming a Decoy Squad member. It's just $2. You guys can get it for, what is it? The less than a price of one coffee for the entire year, or for the day. You can become a Decoy Elite or Decoy Commander member. You get discounts over at the decoyvoice.com store. You get cool things like this tinfoil beanie, the limited edition No Step on Snake, the shirt that I'm wearing right now, this shirt, the Decoy shirt that's got Lady Liberty with a ski mask with oh my, everything's backwards, and I'm terribly coordinated. So yes, this shirt's there. This Decoy voice mug is there. Everything's pretty cool, pretty good quality. I try not to have the profit margins so high up there because, I mean, I know this stuff is expensive, but if you want to support the channel and also get something yourself, the decoyvoice.com store is there. So let's just go ahead and get into it right now, because in the live streams I did before, I always try to cover what's happening in the US that they don't want you to know about, because it's just inconvenient for the narrative. They want to say things like Bidenomics are doing great. The Secretary of Transportation, he's a future presidential candidate, Pete Buttigieg. They don't want you to know stuff like this over here from Raw's Alerts, talking about how multiple homes were evacuated after a train carrying hazardous materials derails. So you see this over here. And I'm not doing a count right now, but how many train derailments of hazardous materials have we seen in the last, what, I mean, 6 months at this point in time? And you see this, they say a CSX freight train carrying hazardous materials derailed in White Marsh, Pennsylvania on Monday morning. 16 out of the 40 train cars were derailed. Some of them contained hazardous materials, triggered a level 2 hazmat response. Fortunately, only material found leaking with the cars was silicone pellets, which is good, which don't pose a threat to the public. But I wonder, I mean, is that a body of water right there? I can't tell from this angle, but, or maybe from the other angle. Looks like it could be like a runoff of some sort, but I don't know. But either way, yes, Drummer Chick 2003 saying, so predictable. It's always happening over and over. And I'm sure that a lot of you wouldn't even know about this stuff happening if it wasn't for like social media, like Raw's Alerts underneath a Elon Musk type character, because you also see this over here where they say multiple explosions reported at a Dow chemical plant in Plaquemine, Louisiana, where I don't think that I've seen a single news source reporting on it. That being said, I don't really like try to track down CNN after every single thing that goes down, but I mean, you see this and it's like, what? You should think that we would have a major issue if it was just a constant barrage of our like this was it, a chemical plant over here? Yeah, Dow chemical plant. I guess the audio is gonna play. There's no audio, but constant chemical plants burning up, food processing facilities, train derailments, bridges going down. Like, there's just a constant barrage of things happening to our country, and they almost want you to think, oh yeah, but I mean, we have Mayor Pete. He's good. We made him an Amazon a fluff piece documentary about how good he was, like how much of a good guy he is, despite the country kind of crumbling from underneath us. Because you see this over here where, yeah, Gateway Pundit shows about it, the O'Hare Airport. Thousands of people had to re-go through the through their security TSA checkpoint, which is crazy. But it's like, okay, this right here isn't that big of a deal. But like what Savannah Hernandez, and if you don't watch Sav Says, she has a really good channel on YouTube. I forgot what are the platforms, but she does some pretty cool on the streets interviews. But he talks about like, oh yeah, being delayed with their airport. I think Luke Rutkowski from Timcast, or formerly Timcast, I don't know what his status is right now, but he was showing how much trouble he's having. Like, he's trying to get from LAX to San Diego, all these flights being delayed. You're seeing this over here, and Pasobik points it out, saying, update on Second World America, domestic air travel is crumbling, and we all know it. And I think that's a good thing to point out, where, yeah, why, like, I don't fly often, but family members that do are oftentimes complaining about this stuff, and you have people like in the news realm, like Luke Rutkowski or Savannah Hernandez or Jack Pasobik, where they fly around all the time for their job, and they're constantly having issues just domestically traveling in the country, and you got to think, yeah, it's crumbling, and we all know it, despite the fact that they say, we have our IT guy says, we have our best and brightest on it, where the country is falling apart, and it seems, but somehow the media doesn't want to point it out whatsoever, because they just need to have the illusion that everything's going okay right now. But we're about to have some really, really rough times coming up in the near future, because allegedly, like, I mean, obviously, I think that they're not even denying it, but allegedly, Ukraine had attacked Russia and attacked the Crimean Bridge once again. Okay, and just so you guys are aware, I'm going to cover all the super chats at the very end of the show. Anything 20 and over, I'll talk about immediately. But I'll still read your super chats, just not during this, because we had a lot to cover today. Because you see this right now. Now this is a post that I kind of want to skim through from Mario Nafal, who has a lot of good coverage. But this video is from the previous attack on the Crimean Bridge, but this stuff is happening, it's rapidly escalating, and we most definitely are in danger of a World War III of sorts, where they have all these different angles of the bridge getting hit, where he says, oh my god, this is such a long post. So Ukraine attacks key Russian bridge and claims responsibility. The longest bridge in Europe, a major strategic asset for Russia, connecting them to Crimea, was attacked early this morning. Ukrainian intelligence had acknowledged that they were... Oh, so they're actually admitting it outright, that they were responsible for the attack. Putin celebrated the opening, saying it was a miracle. Ukraine said that we've taken responsibility for this. So they say that Putin called the attack on the bridge an act of terror, because when you see all the reporting on it, it's like, yeah, Daily Mail says Kremlin blames Britain for orchestrating the attack on the Crimean Bridge. I almost feel like this title had been changed since I saw it first, because I didn't know that they said that it was going to be the UK's fault for this right off the bat. Are you guys saying that it's frozen right now? Because I see perfect kilobyte upload. This is crazy. That's sad. But yeah, you see this. They actually have footage of the attack on the bridge this time and the destruction on it. Unfortunately, there's other video footage of this attack that I can't show you over here, because what they say is there was a civilian car, family was in it, the parents have passed away, and the video is horrendous. And I understand that like this, I'm looking at this from a tweet from an account called Russian Market. So who knows? This could be propaganda. That could be propaganda. Who knows all this information? It's like, and the first casualty of war is the truth, because who knows? But the video I saw was a girl halfway out of a car that the parents have passed away. She's likely in critical. I mean, this is getting very bad very fast, and it's almost like who's the arbiter of the truth right now? We don't even know, because now the Russians are claiming that the attack was a direct participation of the American and British intelligence and politicians. And the thing is, though, is, okay, maybe it wasn't our intelligence community, maybe it wasn't our politicians, it wasn't our armed forces, it wasn't anything like that, but it was still our US dollars going into the country, because likely without US dollars and British dollars or British pounds, they couldn't be fighting back in the first place. So I 100% believe that, yes, if Russia's upset about this attack that may or may not have ended the lives of civilians, we still are complicit in this at some level. And here's the thing is, I always hate how whenever you say I don't like war, like I sound like a 1970s Democrat, like no more war. Like I don't want us to be involved in overseas things. Overseas conflicts are horrendous. People are losing their lives, but that automatically has some people online saying, especially on Twitter right now, saying, "Oh my God, this guy, he's a Putin apologist. He's pro-Putin." It's like, what the heck? Just because I don't want civilians to die, and I don't want American soldiers going overseas, and I don't want to see an endless amount of my tax dollars going to a country that they have almost zero accounting for where the dollars go, that makes me pro-Putin? Like that's nonsense. But it's just almost seems like propaganda online for them to say, oh yeah, anything we don't like, we're just going to say is you're sleeping with the enemy. And it's like that's nonsense, but that's where we are in the world. So they go and say that the issue is, and this is something that I learned when I was doing this channel, is in Europe, there's only a few places that they have fertile lands to grow crops, and Ukraine is pretty much like the breadbasket of Europe, where I'm making a huge generalization, but most of Europe's food and like the Middle East food will be coming from Ukraine. So whenever Ukraine's having issues growing crops, hundreds of thousands could starve. So then when was it the EU? I think it was the European Union had asked, even though they have all these I forget what they're called, they're not tariffs, they're the US has a whole bunch of them against Russia, and they're failing right now. Let me know in the chat. It's not concessions, when they say we're not doing any business with you anymore. What is it? Let me know, chat. But so they pretty much sanctions. Yeah, they ignored the sanctions anymore. Oh my God, thank you for all that. They're ignoring all the sanctions against Russia and saying, hey, we need to get the grain from you because otherwise we're going to be starving over there. So now they're saying, oh yeah, the grain deals ended. They say the Black Sea grain deal is an agreement between Russia, Ukraine, Turkey, and the UN to allow the safe export of grain from Ukraine. They brokered that deal in 2022. The deal is credited with helping reduce the global food prices, which, regardless of whose side you're on in this war, we should be happy. We should be happy that there's nobody starving. Oh, thank you for joining the Decoy Commander Elite level, Curtis Reynolds. I really appreciate that. Oh, also for the Super Chat. So thank you for joining, being a part of the Decoy Squad. I look forward to your duckling emoji becoming the very angry mallard duck, because at this point in time, we're angry about what's going on right now. But I see this over here, and then Mariana Fall, which is somebody that Elon Musk often goes to for information about like current events, so he's a trusted source. He says, my thoughts. This is a serious attack and implication that were involved for 4 reasons, saying the attack was in Crimea, a red line for Putin, where he said that oftentimes, where it's like, yeah, they're not going to counterattack us, they're not going to get us on our soil. This is the red line. They keep on talking about red line, so this is obviously across that. And they say Ukraine publicly claimed responsibility. Very rare. When we're going to go into this a little bit in the future in this video, where there's been some attacks on certain things. Very murky circumstances as to what it is. The media seem to cover for Ukraine, and now they're not. But now they're just straight up saying, oh no, we did it. So there's this. Also concerned that the U.S. could be directly involved. I mean, if we're giving them cluster munitions at this point in time, $40 billion over 2022, we're involved. That's it. Like, if they want to attack us for being involved in it, we can no longer plead, oh, but this is a foreign conflict over borders. No, this is our doing at this point in time, and I'm afraid over that. And also to say, for Sweden about to join NATO, and again, I'm in no way, shape, or form saying Putin is in the right or Putin this or whatever. I'm not here out there to support Russia or whatever it is. It's like, it's a very complicated overseas situation that I'm just a normal guy. But the idea that a lot of people just in the mainstream media, they seem to forget that it was because they were concerned about NATO's expanding borders against NATO extending their borders against Russia's country, and the idea that we could have tactical nuclear munitions right at their border, and they didn't like it. So it's like, yeah, we're slowly creeping up to that right now. And even Biden admitted, it's like, yeah, they want Ukraine to join NATO, but apparently under NATO's rules, it's under NATO's rules, they can't admit a new member during wartime, and Ukraine's currently in war. So I mean, once the conflict ends, and let's say like they just draft up a peace deal and they just surrender a bit of the Donbass region, Ukraine's likely going to join NATO, and that's going to exacerbate the issue even more. Even though I said I wasn't going to read Super Chats, Division Devin says, why is your cursor so big? Because I'm old. But I'll read the rest of the Super Chats at the end. But yes, I'm getting old, spending all my time on computers. It's terrible for me. I need to get outside more often. But yeah. So he goes on to talk about how Putin says he's getting increasingly cornered by NATO and fuming after Sweden got the green light to join NATO. He also said that Crimea is the red line. Everybody's been calling, like he's calling for it. Everybody wants de-escalation over there. I think that during the debates with Tucker, what we're going to cover later on in this video is the only person that's almost pledged the way we're going to get out of Ukraine is, well, Trump's, he's been saying it for a while, saying 24 hours he's going to broker a peace deal. But Tucker has described how we're going to get out of Ukraine, and also Vivek Ramaswamy talked about how he wants to get out of Ukraine, but it seems like all the other Republican politicians have very strong vested interests in us continuing this war over there, which I think is not going to end up well for any of us, especially you American military-age males that are still in the draft age. Which I really, sad to say, I'm being selfish. I just want the war to not break out while I'm still in that bracket that can be drafted. And then I've been saying this before, where I was not born in the U.S., so I was not in Korea during the time that I would need to serve. So if I were to go back there for I think it's like a 365-day period of time, I would need to serve in their military. So it's like, yeah, World War III breaks out, I'm probably going to be drafted into the American military, and then also after that's done, I'll probably be drafted in the Korean military to fight like the space wars or something after after all that's said and done. I don't like anything that's going on right now, but we gotta get more into this where they show satellite image of the Crimean Bridge where it looks like it's not very usable. I think I saw something with a train was nearby after the attack, so maybe it's not 100% down, but I mean, this is something that they said this was a red line. I don't think that they wanted civilian casualties, but by certain reporting online, reporting online, civilians had lost their life. Someone said, what is it? Base says they can do that to you. Korea could just take you. Yeah. So for people like me, born in Korea, if we go to Korea, like a lot of Americans do, they go to Korea to teach English. And what happens is, if you're there for concurrent 365 days, then you have to go into conscription. You have to serve I think it's like 18 months, something like that. You have to serve your time in the military or in their law enforcement. And that's why they say, oh yeah, when you're in Korea, stay there for like 9-10 months, go to Japan, hang out, go back to Korea, spend another 9-10 months over there, because you have to every male has to do conscription in Korea. So I would be concerned about me like having to fight U.S. war in Russia and then also Korea war on Pluto. Like I'm making a joke, but kind of not really. So yes, Brother Shogo says kind of like Israel, and that's what it is right now. And then, yeah, Redonk says, too many people smoke pot to draft. I just like how they did with the medicinal requirements, so the medication mandates that the Army had, they repealed that back because they need more people to serve. So, like we've seen, they've peeled back, like weight restrictions, age limits, weight restrictions, the mandates, and there was one other thing that it's just like we're drastically lowering our standards for our armed forces because we're that desperate for people. And the thing that we've seen, like if you watch a Joe Rogan podcast at all, he has a lot of special forces people on his podcast where every single one of our elite units, Rangers, is Airborne considered elite anymore? I don't know, but it's like Rangers, Delta Force, not Delta Force, Force Recon, and the SEALs, they should have X amount of members, and he said we're all horrendously understaffed. That's pretty bad right now. But yes, I see this over here where over a Spider team, who, granted, has a lot of good information, but has also put out some bad tweets, and I've also on my channel had some bad information, so I mean, we're not perfect, but he's talking about how there is a huge traffic jam to get out of Kyiv towards western Ukraine. The residents of the capital are leaving the city, fearing massive retaliatory attacks by the Russian Air Force on the city for the attack on the Crimean Bridge, which this is in with the tinfoil hat theory, and I'll just go ahead and slap it on right now. And if you guys have your tinfoil hat from decoyvoice.com, this would be a good time to have it to protect you. I'm just saying. I mean, maybe it doesn't protect us from government mind control waves, but you can't prove that it doesn't. But just the idea that they're thinking that, I believe it was around July 4th, when they had their power plant, and then I think it was Zelensky was out there talking about how, oh, it looks like they've put an explosive device on top of our nuclear plant, so that might go, and then people starting to say, oh, that might be a false incident, so then it didn't happen. But I mean, some people with tinfoil hats on are thinking this attack was done, and they admitted that they did it right off the bat just so they can have an excuse to blow up their own plant, because if you have a attack that's going to have a much bigger impact than why is Russia's nuclear power plant meltdown slipping my head? Chernobyl. If it has a bigger environmental impact than Chernobyl, then everybody's gonna be forced to have to join. So that's what they're starting to think is happening. Again, tinfoil hat. But then you see this over here where Until Crab, very very pro-Ukraine Twitter account is calling out how the Russian media is upset that Ukraine attacked their bridge, and they're almost boasting about it. I guess I have to mute it, and I'll just, because you can hear what she's saying. But I'll just kind of read the subtitles where it says, if after the first attack of terrorism, they were so afraid of us that they didn't even claim responsibility for it, then having realized that we're not responding, they're today spitting in our face and saying, yes, it was us, but we'll continue to do it. We need to respond. And I don't like that, how the media, and obviously I believe like Russia has state-controlled media, if the media is saying, hey, we need to do, like, they need to direct our military involvement, or like how we fight our wars I don't like that at all, but I mean, here it is. And she says, it's not about them having comedians in charge of their state, and they're trying to refer to Zelensky used to be on their a Ukrainian SNL Saturday Night Live type show, more like maybe Mad TV or whatever you want to have you see it. But yeah, he was a former comedian actor, and then she's just trying to berate him for that. It's not about them having him in charge of the state. It's about the fact that we should have national interest and our sense of our own dignity. At the end of the day, we're a great power. We mustn't allow any pathetic creature to mock us and eliminate our civilians. So they're also acknowledging that it was civilians that lost their life on the Crimean Bridge. Thank you for the super chat, Chris Jolly, saying wood chippers on sale in Florida. That is a very scary idea, but I mean, Florida seems to be a very active in the political war right now. But one thing I want to point out over here is how she talks about how first they attacked us, saying that it was the Nord Stream pipeline. I believe they're trying to infer to. But first they didn't want to admit, they didn't want to claim responsibility for the other attack. But now they do it and they spit in our face. So Kim.com, he's that guy that made the it was like one of those, like, it wasn't Napster, it wasn't like Kazaa, it was one of those other like kind of piracy sites or whatever. But he goes on there and talks about like worldwide conflicts or whatever, and he's like, okay, so how is Zelensky helping his people by blowing up a lane on the Crimean Bridge, and then civilians lost their lives, knowing it's going to trigger a strong Russian response? He can't win on the battlefield, so NATO's done with him, so he's berating Zelensky as well. So Kim says there's no rationality behind the Crimea attack unless he wants to blow up the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant to shock Europe into action as U.S. support dries up after running out of accounting tricks. He will claim that Russia did it in retaliation, which that is, again, our tinfoil hat over here. But what does he know? He's a computer programmer guy. But it would be one of their last moves, wouldn't it be? Like, this wouldn't be the first time we've seen a false situation occur in a country that wants to drag them into war. I mean, yeah, I enjoy a tinfoil hat theory, but this almost seems dead on, because you see this over here. Before the media would cover for what happened overseas and say, oh yeah, this is just big spooky Russia, they're doing terrible things, he's a really, really bad guy. But it seems just as of June, all the mainstream media outlets were giving their marching orders to say, hey, Intelligencer, the New Yorker, NY Mag. Is this the New Yorker? No, it's just the new NY Mag. They say, who really blew up the Nord Stream pipeline? New clues keep surfacing, and the most recent appear to implicate Ukraine. So all of a sudden, NY Mag can say, oh, it was Ukraine. And then Politico says, the CIA warned Ukraine not to blow up the Nord Stream, reports say. And then you also seeing from the Washington Post, which is just a mouthpiece for the liberal media at this point in time. It's just Bezos' media outlet, which is a very bizarre thing that the liberals would be very, very, very concerned that Elon Musk would be taking over a social media platform like Twitter just so people can communicate. But they have absolutely no words to say about the Washington Post being owned by his, like, one of the more, his is he like the third most richest person? Like one of the competing billionaires for being the most richest person in the world. Washington Post owned by one person, but now they're saying the U.S. had intelligence of detailed Ukrainian plan to attack the Nord Stream pipeline. So they say Discord leaks, CIA learned last June, a European spy agency, a 6-person team of Ukrainian special operations forces intended to sabotage the Russia to Germany natural gas project, which was something that was speculated in the beginning. But I think even early on in my channel, where they say, like, you know, I try to follow all the YouTube rules. That's why half the time I'm wearing this tinfoil beanie to say, hey, I'm just a crazy guy saying crazy things. Don't take me too seriously. But hey, who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline right when it happened? Like, I feel like I'm trying to talk about this stuff, but in a permissible way by our by the platform. But the idea that before they said you couldn't talk about it, but as of June, all the mainstream outlets, June 13, June 15th, June 3rd, or June 6th, it was something that all of a sudden now they need to bend the narrative to paint it in a particular light. Because you see this over here where Ian Miles Chong points out that in 2017, something that we're always talking about, like, why are liberals so upset about Donald Trump, MAGA supporters, anybody that's a little bit conservative saying you're a fascist, you're just like 1940s Germany. They're always trying to They're always trying to say that you're this particular thing, and then they turn around and say how brave of the Ukrainians for protecting their country, and they just seem to not only simp out for the Azov battalion, who is just outright they're neo-Nazis, but also the idea that they sometimes wear their patches. They'll wear the Azov S's, which is a Nazi logo, and also the Black Sun logo, which is also a Nazi logo, just because it's who's fighting on the side of the Ukrainians. Now, I'm not saying that I have a particular vested interest in any side over there. I just don't understand it fully. But look at how all the mainstream media outlets changed their tone immediately about what happened with the Nord Stream pipeline. Well, look at back in 2017 how they could correctly cover the Azov battalion in Ukraine.
Watching.
Oh, I can't show any of this. What are we talking about? Yeah, but they're marching in there. They're Mason people. They have their flags. They are.
Its founder, this man Andrei Beletsky, has in the past expressed racist and anti-Semitic views.
Yeah, they have anti-Semitic views. They're not even covering. They're just hailing Hitler in these images right here.
Logo has
they have the logo.
Nazi overtones.
My favorite quote from Humanity Hall.
Together with their commanders.
This is the mainstream media able to cover Azov as they are, and something tells them when and where they can do the reporting on stuff, and that's why I just don't believe anything I see, even from like trusted sources. Maybe they get their stuff from over there, and it's crazy because you see this right now. Who's trying to get us out of the war, and who wants to shove us back in?
I would tell Putin, if you don't make a deal, we're going to give them a lot. We're going to give more than they ever got if we have to.
As long as we help Ukraine with the weapons they need and the economic support, they will fight to the last person.
Providing assistance for the Ukrainians to defeat the Russians, that's the number one priority.
That's our number one priority
right now.
But more must be done on the international stage to support the Ukrainian people, including providing them with the weapons they need for successful defense.
And there's only one person that says,
I would tell Putin, if you don't make a deal, we're going to give them a lot. We're going to give more than they ever got if we have to.
As long as we help Ukraine with the...
I guess that's a little bit of a thing that's in line with everybody that wants to keep us over there. So then I talk about this over here during the Tucker Carlson interview, where he's just pretty much slamming all the Republican candidates, and I think that only Tucker Carlson and Vivek Ramaswamy came out even marginally looking good. But the idea that they covered Ukraine, are we going to go over there? What's going to happen? And it's like, yeah, Vivek, he's looking like he's going to take us out of Ukraine. Should he win the nomination, which I kind of don't see it. I could see him being a cabinet member, or I could see him being a VP possibly. I don't really know where he sits, because I know that DeSantis outright says he won't play second fiddle to Donald Trump, and it seems like they're kind of butting heads right now, despite the fact that Trump was almost a kingmaker in helping DeSantis get Florida become Florida's governor. But the idea that, yeah, Vivek Ramaswamy, he looks like he's becoming a new star, being swarmed, kind of like how we see Donald Trump being swarmed, where he didn't have to show up to the Tucker Carlson primary, but I mean, people seem to love him. Like, this is on the same night, apparently. Like, he's literally getting the rock star treatment right now, and you see that this in comparison, where Trump seems loved, Vivek seems like he's getting a good reception, but then they say Posobiec shows on the same day. Yeah, DeSantis, I would have to say that I like a lot of the things he's doing in Florida. I think that the more the mainstream media tries to attack him, the more I'm drawn to figuring out what he's saying, and the more that I actually like that he has to say. But his campaign isn't going the way you would think it would, because you see this over here from DeSantis War Room, who's been known to use the AI-generated images of Donald Trump and Dr. Fauci. But you see this.
The only reason you wouldn't want the parents involved, because you view the parents as an impediment to your agenda and trying to indoctrinate. When Biden says they're all of our kids...
And it's like, okay, what he's saying is good, but again, just like Mike Pence has a fundamental misunderstanding of what it would take to become president, what it would do to resonate with the younger voting audiences, and what it is to be a person that you become passionate to vote for, not someone that just, a political gamesmanship that shakes the right hands, that gets the right donors, and just is a part of the political establishment. You see how much they love Trump, how much they love DeSantis. Oh, I'm sorry, the love of Vivek Ramaswamy. Zero Sum out there pointing out, he's like, yeah, look at the people in the front, like the girl right here, but also look at the other people. There's never been a group like. For one, it doesn't seem like he can garner much of an audience compared to a Donald Trump, but the idea that nobody has looked less interested in being anywhere than these people right here, and it's just such bad imagery. It almost seems like DeSantis has been dropping the ball every step of the way when, again, he has a good product to sell. I feel like people vote with their feet. Just the simple idea that everybody's leaving these literal paradises like California, or not necessarily literal paradise, but like, a liberal paradise of New York, and they're leaving those states in droves to go over to Florida. He has a good product. We want the country to be more like Florida, and yet this is the best he can muster up, as this is the imagery. It's just it's nuts to me. But you see this over here where Politico is even talking about how the DeSantis pack is using AI-generated Trump voices and attacking the ex-president Donald Trump, where, yeah, if that's the best you have, is your DeSantis war room needs to make AI-generated images of Donald Trump embracing Fauci, because that's one of the pieces that the DeSantis wins on, like how he handled the lockdowns and everything. I would say that DeSantis handled the virus better than Donald Trump handled the virus, because if in case you guys don't remember, yeah, people think Texas is a land of the free, but Texas was shutting places down. Governor Greg Abbott was fining, I don't know if he was jailing yet, but he was fining business owners for trying to stay open. And if it was not for DeSantis reopening his state, all those other liberal conservative states never would have followed the lead, and they also wouldn't have to put pressure on places like California to make it so I could walk outside without an N95 on my face. So it's a thing of, yes, DeSantis did really, really good things for the country just by taking risks in his state, because could you imagine how that would have killed his career and also probably put him in danger in general public if he reopened Florida, did all these things and said business as usual, and all of a sudden like he had like a 90% mortality rate in his country, in his state during that time? He wouldn't be able to walk in public anymore, but he had the courage and the information to say, hey, I got a I forgot, it was a is it his surgeon general? It's not a surgeon general. It's like his like the chief physician in Florida. But he was out there saying, "Oh yeah, we can open up. We can be outdoors. We can do all this." Where yeah, he's out there and he's opening up the country. He's making it so everybody can be free once again. And just this looks horrendous right now. Thank you for the super chat. Curtis Reynolds again saying DeSantis screwed up. He didn't support Trump after Trump supported him. It was political suicide for his future. And that's what I think this comes down to, is just more political gamesmanship of saying DeSantis took a calculated risk. And like they say with the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die. And in the political world, I think that his team around him, like they was advising him, being all like, establishment politicians, said they thought you have a better chance of becoming president if you can get those middle of the road voters, all the white female voter base that heavily went from Donald Trump in 2016 to Joe Biden in 2020, and the idea that you don't need to get the MAGA diehard conservatives, you need to get more of those middle of the road conservatives, and I'm sorry, those diehard MAGA supporters, just ditch them. Trump, he's toxic. We don't need that. And I think that they took that calculated risk to try to get those middle of the road voters, but it seemed to more alienate the more passionate voter base that is like the America First people, which can be anybody. Middle of the road decoy voice can say Donald Trump is a better package than a Joe Biden, but I don't know how I feel about Ron DeSantis at this point in time, because yes, it was a political suicide for his future, because I not guaranteed, what do I know? But I strongly believe that if DeSantis just said, hey, I'm going to campaign on behalf of Trump, possibly be his VP, maybe even be a cabinet member to a 2024 Donald Trump presidency, that would have lined DeSantis up perfectly for a 2028 presidential run. But the idea that he tried to jump the line and say, no, you know what, I don't like what Donald Trump's doing. He's terrible for this. He's trying to knock him down, or go against him. You're carving out such a large portion of your base that I don't really know if you have anything left. Because who's DeSantis going to go for right now? The Mike Pence base, the Mitch McConnell base. Like, I don't think that he has enough behind him alienating the entire Trump base, which is at this point in time, the most passionate group of people, because, I mean, you don't see this for Biden with 82 million votes. You don't see this for Kamala Harris. The last time you saw this type of reaction for somebody was a Barack Obama who had the entire mainstream media behind him. So I just think that this is a sad moment for a politician that was, well on his way to becoming president, just maybe after Donald Trump was no longer eligible. Thank you, Belton Zong. It was Surgeon General. Yeah, the Surgeon General. But yeah, you see this over there. Curtis Reynolds saying it was suicide for his political future. That's kind of what I believe right now, because using AI-generated Trump voices, AI-generated Trump images, I don't think is a good strategy, especially as things are heating up. So you see this from Tucker Carlson talking about how on his show on Twitter, Trump's the only guy that can become president that can get us out of war overseas.
Biden and his many allies, from Chuck Schumer to Mitch McConnell to Paul Ryan and every single news anchor on all of television, all of them believe that Ukraine, its borders, its future, its infrastructure are all more important than the town that you live in. They sincerely think that.
If Detroit, downtown LA, Portland, Seattle, even New York at this point in time, if the status of those areas right now, just looking at any video footage you see from over there compared to how many tens of billions of dollars we overseas, I don't think it's a secret anymore. They value that area more than us right now because of narratives.
And it's obvious. Everyone in power thinks that, except for Donald Trump.
Yes.
Whatever else you say about him, Trump is the one guy with an actual shot at becoming president who dissents from Washington's long-standing pointless war agenda.
And I would say, yeah, I think that he was wrong in the idea he's the only one that doesn't want it, because I think that DeSantis would likely take us out. Vivek Ramaswamy will take us out. But I believe that he's right in the sense that he's the only one that has a realistic shot of bringing us into the realistic shot of becoming president that will take us out of the war.
And for that one fact, they're trying to take Trump out before you can vote for him. And that should upset you more than anything that's happened in American politics in your lifetime.
Right? Because this whole, we're going to get him for the classified documents. Oh, that could have had nuclear codes in it. Or we're going to get him for something that he said to somebody a long time ago, and now we finally have someone that's willing to bring the charges on him. Like, yes, this should irritate everybody, including Democrats, including liberals, including someone that is a far-left, blue-haired, pro-woman's choice person. Like, the idea that we are no longer getting an option to vote for who we want in office. Like, if for some reason, remember back when Trump was debating with Hillary and says, "Hey, if I was president, you'd be in prison right now." I think I'd be kind of upset about that. Where I would think, okay, wait a minute, wait. You're so afraid of your political rival that you're going to imprison them so they can't run against you. That seems like we don't have a democracy anymore. We're a constitutional republic. But the idea that the American people can't choose their leader because one leader decides to imprison the other one, that's an issue for everybody. And that's literally what they're doing with Donald Trump right now, where they want him to be so tied up with legal issues that he can't run. And I think that is a major concern for all of us, because I think the only reason they stopped the constant barrage of legal issues on Donald Trump is when he was being indicted the first time. I think that was the record amount that Donald Trump had fundraised for his campaign ever. And the idea that, yeah, I think that every single time they tried to strike him down, they were only making him stronger. And that's the only reason they backed off right now. But thinking he's the only one that's not going to help escalate, or not going to escalate the war overseas, well, you got to think about NATO countries like Belgium, where what's happening over there? I can't use the audio, I guess, but the Belgian defense cadets, and I made a comment on this Twitter thread saying the only way I think this is impressive is if these are AI drones. Like, these aren't people. Like, that's the only way I would be impressed. Like, oh my god, Belgium, they're gonna end the war over there if these were. Oh wait, this is not real. Oh wait, is this a joke? Oh no, it's Red Alert music. But I mean, unless this was AI drones, I'm terrified of this, because when I did this video about France or Spain being invaded, France being invaded, like with these migrants that are rushing over to these countries over there in Europe, are they going to serve in the military? Because since I did this video 5 days ago, there's just been a constant influx of new videos of showing migrants in large numbers all crossing that channel to get over to Europe. And it's just, oh my gosh, the audio, sorry. Just constant videos. There's all these nothing but military-age men, no women, no children, all getting over there, all lined up in these European countries to get, I don't want to say welfare, because I imagine a good number of these people just want to, they want to work, they want to provide, they just need opportunity, and I understand that. But the idea is like, okay, so with all these people over there, will they serve in Europe's war? They need refuge from where they are.
As we know,
you see these large numbers of people. What is it? They're going to the UK. They're going to Spain. They're going to France. They're going to Italy. Like, they're there. Will they serve? Because, I mean, at this point in time, if you've seen the status of the Western world, the Western male, not a lot of us are in fighting shape right now. And it seems like all these gentlemen would be. But yes. You see this over here where England is no longer England, and I can't find, there's another video that looks like a Mr. Beast video where they say that now the majority of England is actually going to be I believe either Indian or like they're not non-native English speaking. So it's like, okay, so you have all these people over there. Are they going to fight in the military for their war? But then I remember seeing this stuff over here, and I actually was able to dig it up, where back when the Ukraine-Russia conflict was heating up, they talk about how the settled migrant Africans in Ukraine living off their facilities for free refuse to fight for Ukraine, and they insist on passports and entry into the UK. So this had happened previously, and apparently that didn't change anybody's opinion. Chanting, let us go home in English, but the idea that this had happened over there. This wasn't like they just got there the first day. Like, apparently they had been living there, they've been thriving for quite some time, and now they realize, oh no, we want to go home back to either I forgot where exactly they were from. But the idea is like they wanted to go home or they wanted to go to the UK, and they just keep on trying to escape. And it's like, yeah, I personally don't think that you need to serve in somebody's wars. I don't want to serve in the U.S.'s war at this point in time because I don't agree with the circumstances that have put us in that conflict overseas. But the idea that, did they not see that military-age males, not even military-age males, even old men, you could not flee Ukraine. Like, they were forcing you back to the border. There are some videos out there that, we can't confirm, where they're just picking up random males on the street and forcing them into conscription, and for them to say, oh, we're here for the prosperity, we're here for the resources, we're here for the opportunity, but when it comes to actually giving back your civil your civil duty as a citizen, they're going to go ahead and turn up their nose at that, because you see this over here. And I understand both arguments of this, but I just really wonder, like, what's going to happen in Europe where you have all these migrants there, military-age males almost exclusively, and they don't want to fight when they're likely going to need to send soldiers over to Ukraine, boots on the ground, to protect their border.
High Commissioner for Refugees is now confirming to us that there are cases of discrimination in admitting refugees. One Congo native saying he was discriminated against while trying to board a train out of Ukraine. Take a listen.
They even told us, like, we are going to give you guns and you're going to fight for Ukraine. I said, hi? We're going to fight for Ukraine? We are not Ukrainian. We are black. So how can we fight? How can we fight for Ukraine?
And I get that. I don't want to fight on behalf of this country at this point in time for this particular war. Like, I understand that. But what is the benefit whatsoever to having this over there if it's only going to be one particular way? Because they're going to keep on moving on until they make it to where it's like, I don't want to see anybody have to lose their life in a war. I don't want any war, but it's just the idea that if you've been in a country and you're living in it, and this is your community at this point in time, you're no longer what is it? It's not Congolese. Let me know, chat. How do you say somebody from the Congo? Congolese? Maybe I need to Google search it. What is it? Congolese? Congolese people? Is that what it is? Congolese. Okay, so it is Congolese people. So the idea that Congolian? No, it's not Congolian, is it? I'm sounding stupid now, but yeah, I think it is Congolese. Yeah, okay, so I'm getting so caught up on this. But the idea that you're no longer Congolese, you're over there speaking the language, you're this is your country, this is where you migrated to because you had to seek refuge from your home. You can't say, okay, well, now that it's bad conditions, I'm going to go back. Like, I feel like this is your country, you should probably defend it, especially if it's in direct attack. The idea that they're complaining about that just makes me wonder, who is going to fight the war? If we're going to go in direct conflict, like all these Republicans, all these Democrats, all these politicians that they know they're not going to serve in the war, they're not going to have to go overseas, like I said in the other video, live in filth for a couple months and then just meet your untimely demise in the blink of an eye, or, you know, lose some sort of part of your body in this conflict. Like, they're not, they know their necks are on the line over there. So who's going to fight in the war? Because you look at this over here from worldpopulationreview.com showing how, like, oh, how many soldiers in Russia? Active duty 1 million, but I'll say total personnel 3.6 million. Where if we're in total war and all manufacturing, everything is going to the war effort, they got 3.6 million. So who does what does the UK have? 227,000 to Russia's 3.6 million. What does Spain have? 211,000. France 375,000. Like, they just don't have the numbers whatsoever. And it seems like, yeah, Ukraine has 1.2 million, but how many of those forces have already been, unfortunately, had lost their lives? It really seems to me that we kind of don't stand a chance if we have to go up against the BRICS nations as a whole, which is Brazil 2.1 million, Russia 3.6 million, India at 5.1 million, China at 4 million, and South Africa, oh my god, only 8. Okay, so 80,000. But the idea that it's gonna be Americans, that's what it's gonna be. That's what it's gonna come down. Like, they if they have all these new citizens that, you know, we say the great replacement theory is a big tinfoil hat theory, but the idea that if they have all these people, capable fighters, and they refuse to fight for the nation, they're going to flee once again. It's going to come down on our shoulders right now. And who's in America to fight for our wars? Because they say, you know, it's a 2.2 million total personnel, active duty 1.4 million, total reserves 845,000. I mean, who knows? Yeah, this is by this year. Well, Biden's already calling up the reserves, and I believe it's people that aren't even assigned to a unit currently. They're being attached. Now, I can't confirm this. I'm just saying this is hearsay. But from what I've heard from people that definitely are named, is their reservists or their reservists, I forget what it's called all the time. After you serve your years, you're done. But you also have to show up to the base a couple times. You're active reserve. You still get the benefits and the money. What are you guys saying? IRR, yeah, they're already being assigned. Like National Guardsmen being assigned to the Navy, being told, oh, you're going to be sent to Eastern Europe, not necessarily Ukraine, but they're already getting this information right now. Again, you can't confirm this whatsoever, but yes, inactive reserve, thanks, Chad. The idea that they're getting called up already. Yeah, they're going to send us over there, and when you see stuff like this from the Wall Street Journal as of, 18 days ago, they talk about how military recruiting crisis, where I covered it earlier, where our army had fallen short by their recruiting goals by 25%, which is scary if Biden's marching us into a World War III. But the idea where they say military recruiting crisis, even veterans don't want their families to join. Where, yeah, if all these veterans got kicked out and lost their perks, and they got dishonorably discharged for not taking the medication, of course they're not going to want their kids to be in that armed forces anymore, especially when you see stuff like this where you have Colonel Mark Wooten of the United States Air Force Civil Air Patrol saying the only guidance he puts out there for them is to stop hiring middle-aged white people, especially dudes. I wonder, in a country that has the majority of white people, majority males in the military, if their U.S. Air Force was specifically saying, stop hiring you guys anymore, do you really want your son to be going to a place where they're going to be affirmative actioned out of getting a promotion, having a position of power, doing what you want to do, or are you going to be treated like this?
The only really guidance I put out there for them to consider is stop hiring middle-aged white people. especially dudes that are pilots, because honestly, we all think alike too much. And if we're going to be preaching diversity and...
So if we're going to be preaching diversity, why? You think China preaches diversity? Good God, how would China preach diversity? But I'm telling you right now, that's likely going to be our biggest adversary on the worldwide scale in a global conflict is China. And they're out there saying, you know, our enemies, they're not diverse enough. That's how we're going to win.
Being inclusive, and for crying out loud, let's back it up with let's make the rhetoric meet the reality.
And what is it? What do you call that? The pulling up the ladder behind you, where it's like, yeah, I enjoyed this scenario where I wasn't judged by the color of my skin; it was judged by the content of my character, my abilities, and my experience. No. Now that I've made my position, let me just make sure that I can just diversify everything down there. I'm not concerned about winning a war because I'm already at the latter part of my career. It doesn't really matter to me at this point in time. But the idea is, I want to feel better about myself. Sheer absurdity, because yeah, the military, this right here, like this is becoming a more and more common thing I'm seeing online. Yeah, I don't think that this necessarily is representative of military combat veterans that would, you know, felt some sort of pride about being in our nation's armed forces. They don't want their children to be involved in this, and honestly, I don't blame them. But again, who's gonna fight in this conflict that all these politicians seemed adamant about us getting involved in right now? Because I don't know about you guys, the White House is now saying that UFOs are taking or are giving our pilots trouble. What?
Some of these phenomena we know have already had an impact on our training ranges. For when pilots are out trying to do training in the air, and they see.
What an awful convenience for at this point in time that we need lots of distractions. What is it called? Operation Bluebeam is when they say they're going to reveal the aliens to us when they need to, and it's like, yeah. We may be going to World War III. It may be due to corruption of certain presidents' sons, but you know what? UFOs.
These things, they're not sure what they are, and it can have an impact on their ability to perfect their skills. So it already had an impact here, and we just want to better understand it. Now, we're not saying what they are.
Okay.
What they're not. We're saying that there's something our pilots are seeing. We're saying it has had an effect on some of our training operations, and so we want to get to the bottom of it. We want to understand it better. So, yes.
And let's just say that it's not aliens from another country or another dimension. It's just Chinese aircraft that are so much more advanced than our aircraft that we don't know what it is. It's a unidentified flying object. It's a UFO. None of this bears well for us. One, if it's China has advanced technology we don't understand, that's bad. Two, it's aliens from another dimension. That's horrendous. Or three, Project Blue Beam. They're getting so desperate that they're already starting to unveil the UFO chapter of our distractions right now. I think all this is bad right now, and yet how are they going to upgrade our military? The Speaker of the House, McCarthy, is saying this.
Why wouldn't we want to advance America? Why wouldn't we want to advance society? Why wouldn't we want to make somebody safer? We could battle wildfires with AI. We could predict.
Okay, yeah. I don't like wildfires, yeah, but AI?
Where a fire would start, where it would grow, pre-position individuals to be able to knock that fire out. That would not only save lives, it would save the environment. We watch many times within smoke. With AI, we could find a better way to actually treat you. Or with AI, our military will be able to be.
Is it me, or is he going full Kamala Harris right now? I don't know. Let me check that.
Stronger. With AI today, we actually use in the military, when you always get these reports, like a number of planes, 50% of planes can't fly. We use AI to predict the part that is going to fail in the plane, so now we're up to 75 and 85% of planes that can fly, because we change that part before it collapses upon itself. AI can help government save money, provide a greater service.
Whoa. We went from battling wildfires. Cool. AI firefighter. Have a Dalmatian on the fire truck that can just run into a building, save a kid, stop a wildfire. Cool. I'm on board with that. Now you're saying it should be in our military. Oh, okay. And then now also it's going to govern us. Yo, what?
Be more efficient. I'm always looking for improvements, and that's where AI can be. Now, the fear of other things, that's what we can look to make sure we can protect. But I'm one who believes that tomorrow is going to be greater than today, and I'm one who firmly believes America has had the greatest advancement, especially in technology, and we should be the leaders in this, and really how government handles this will determine if America continues to lead.
And I get it. We need to get on top of AI, and that's why I think that we're going to let AI just develop out of hand, and we're going to get a Skynet in the near future because everybody's rushing to become the first one with an advanced ChatGPT 76 at any point in time. But the idea that we are saying, oh, we're at war right now. We don't have the soldiers anymore. We don't have anybody qualified anymore. We have aliens in the air. There's nobody joining anymore. So let's just make sure we get AI drone bots. Like, I think that this is something that will immediately backfire on us. It's a terrible idea, like Sassy Fraz says, but here we are. So what's going on with the commander-in-chief? Like, what is the press secretary? What are they doing at this point in time? Should I feel good about the status of our country?
Good afternoon. Hello. Welcome back. Wait, nobody likes my outfit?
Oh my God, your outfit. We need to pat you on the back for your outfit? Oh, what the fuck is going on? So here they are, gloating about Bidenomics.
Everything that you are seeing with our economy being stronger, wages going up, unemployment going down, staying under 4%, something that we haven't seen in 50 years, is because of Bidenomics, as you've heard us talk about. It's because of the work that this president has done.
And here's the thing is, he talks about this. So RNC Research says prices going up 16%, wages going down 3%, and the idea that, yeah, we're starting to see inflation going down, but remember when they tried to redefine what the CPI is, the Consumer Price Index, where they said, oh, these things are really harming us. I think it was like vehicles, the cost of vehicles, fuel, certain foods or whatever. Like that was what was really driving inflation up. So instead of trying to get inflation down, what they did is they just try to do more political gamesmanship where they said, you know what? If we just omit the things that are making inflation look bad, we can make inflation look not as bad as it is. It's still historic highs, but they just tried to change things so it looked better on them, and now they're bragging about it. But the more hilarious thing is to see this over here. Biden saying, 1 year after its launch, our administration's crisis hotline has helped 5 million Americans when they needed it most. And then Twitter said, oh yeah, that was signed into law in 2019 under the Trump administration. So something that he's trying to brag about, or something that his team is trying to brag about, they're so uneducated about the things that are happening in the White House as it is, they're trying to brag about something Donald Trump did. But not only that, but they say Biden was talking about Bidenomics. Right now, real wages for the average American worker is higher than it was before the lockdowns, with lower wage workers seeing the largest gains. Yeah, if your wages go up and the prices outpace your raises, you actually lose money. Like I was seeing that in my former career where they were giving me, I think it was 1.5% raises consistently every year. That was a terrible job to work at, but also the idea that that those wages were getting smashed by inflation, and then 1 year I didn't even get a raise at all, and it was just like, yeah, you may say my wages are higher at some point in time, but it's not helping me at all. And then the Twitter community note says, the tweet's claim about real wages contains a factual error. On 3/15/20, when the lockdowns began, real wages adjusted for inflation were 11.15. As of 7/16/23, real wages AFI are 11.05. So that means that inflation outpaced us, but not only implementing the idea that we change the definition of inflation to make it look not as bad. And it's almost like just completely in line with what they like to do in this administration, where they try to say, oh, you're an anti-dose guy, like, a vaccine, everybody should want them. But then at some point in time, they change the definition of what that is to make you feel like you should be doing something. But it's like, no, I remember when it was something that if I would get it, I would no longer get it, and I would no longer spread it. And now they're saying, oh, if you get it, it's going to make it so it's more of a, what do you call it, prophylactic, where it's just going to help your body handle it better. You keep on changing the definition of something and trying to use that argument against us, but it's like, no, we're not stupid. We remember that you lied about it. It's ridiculous. But when they come back and say, hey, look, there was community notes placed on your tweet. This isn't Instagram. This isn't Threads. This isn't who's the guy that used to own Twitter or be the CEO of Twitter? I forget his name. He has a beard now. But it's not the old social media platforms like Facebook where the Biden administration, the Democrats can go in there and say, hey, you need to ban these people. You need to make sure we can't say these things. That's Russian disinformation. This is foreign interference. No, this is Twitter, so people are actually allowed to think for themselves. And here's their rebuttal to Twitter knocking down 2 of Biden's posts today.
The president had a tweet out last night saying that real wages for the average American worker are higher than they were before the pandemic. That tweet has now been annotated with a message from the platform saying that that is not factual, and they have some stats and some charts.
Look how mad she is. It's like, yo, this isn't one of the probe questions. What are you doing? I hate this.
Footnoted along with that. Do you welcome that kind of contestation from tech platforms?
We disagree.
That's it. We disagree. Not, hey, here's the reason why. Here's some numbers. Here's the math. This is why it's right. It's just, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to let you finish. But I'm moving on because I'm not going to address this whatsoever. Absolute sheer ridiculousness. But at this point in time, this is what we are right now. We are the U.S. United States of America. All these major liberal Democrat cities are this Lamborghini in Indonesia. Lamborghini on the outside. It's like 2002 Yamaha on the inside. That's what we are in this point in time right now. And it's just... It's sad. So let's go ahead and get to Super Chats right now. I mean, if you guys haven't already, please consider becoming a channel member. It's just $2 a month. You can become a premium member as a Decoy Elite, Decoy Commander member. Not only do you get the little emoji next to your name that gets more angrier over time, becomes an eagle after a long time, you also get a promo code over in the community tab at those higher levels for a discount over at the decoyvoice.com/shop, where you get these things like this tinfoil beanie, this really cool Decoy Voice mugs, and a couple of limited edition items that'll be leaving the store, like this Decoy Justice shirt that I'm wearing right now. Oh, I forgot. We were going to read some super chats, so let's get to that right now. Let me pull that up. So, as I said, we're reading all the regular super chats right off the bat, and then we'll get all to the other ones at the end. How do I pull this stuff up? I think this is how we pull it up. Wait, no. Here is how we pull it up. All right, cool. So let me line this up here. And wait, how is this not working? Oh, here we go. Okay, so how do I change this thing? There it is. Okay, I'm still figuring stuff out. So Curtis Reynolds super chat, we read that earlier. FU says ducks salt emoji, the salt must flow. Yeah, the salty army's always over here. Really appreciate you guys. J Dud says, enjoy your content. I think your channel is going to blow up pretty soon. Keep up the hard work. And the one thing I like about comments like that is the idea that everybody's like, yeah, the channel's blowing up. It's doing so well. It's doing so well. But it's like, to me, 344,000 subscribers, that's blown up to me. Like that's me being at the top of the game. So I think it's really cool that people keep on saying that, you know, you don't have enough subscribers, thinking that I should be at 1 million, even though we're at, like, you know, hundreds of thousands. I never thought I'd be here. So I appreciate that. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Jay, saying, off topic, but are you going to watch Oppenheimer? Keep up with the content, man. Yes, I am going to watch Oppenheimer, but that one girl that's a contributor on the Babylon Bee, what is that movie called that she was trying to suggest? It was Barefoot Jen. Yeah, Barefoot Jen. It's there's an English dub.
Let's do it.
And it's a amazingly impactful movie. She recommended it. It's an amazing show. It's about two Japanese kids, or one Japanese kid that that this is before the nuclear missiles landed, when it landed, and after it landed. And she framed it the best, saying that, you know, you can see the whole movie with an English dub in English on YouTube. It's free right now. But the idea that it's what is it? It's a kid's cartoon. It's an anime cartoon, but it gets real. It gets real heavy, and it's like, you know, she's talking about how it's going to change your life after you see it, and I 1,000,000% agree. Like, that this movie changes the way that you'll see warfare and how it impacts civilians and how it impacts families and everything, and it's like a must watch. So if you want to watch Oppenheimer, which I do, I also recommend you watch Barefoot Jen, which goes, like, you know, the other side of it, which is from, I believe, a man, I think this has got to be autobiographical, maybe, where he was in Japan when the attacks happened. So, like, he's almost writing about that. Oh yeah, and everybody's talking about Grave of Fireflies. This is not the same thing as Grave of Fireflies, but me, I don't have many emotions, but a lot of people cried when they saw Grave of Fireflies. Like, I watched Barefoot Jen with my girlfriend. This, you know, was very emotional for her, and it's like, this is going to be this is going to be heavy. So yeah, thank you for that super chat. And also Division Devon saying, why is your cursor so big? It's because I'm blind and I'm old and I'm on the computer too much. Nate's meme says, war, what is it good for? The military industrial complex. Exactly. Johnny says, draft all Democrats. I mean, if you have a I stand with Ukraine bumper sticker, I think that you should be conscripted. I'm not even joking about that. Like, you don't need to be sent on the front lines. You can do clerical work stateside. You can be in a factory. You can be cleaning toilets. If you're an accountant and you have the stand for Ukraine like bumper sticker, we need accountants in the U.S. military. You should serve. If you are that adamant about this and this isn't just virtue signaling, you should be over there, or you should be helping the war effort. But I don't believe them. Thank you, Doc Holliday, saying it's about laundering money for the uniparty swamp, Dems and Republicans alike. I think that this is true. Chris Jolly with a super huge super chat. Wood chippers on sale in Florida. Nate's meme says, rumor has it Biden's going to start a TikTok at Sniff Bay. Okay. Be young with the, oh yeah, I think I was doing this in the video and they did the emoji. Thank you for the super sticker. Don't care says good work, appreciate that. Curtis Reynolds with a super huge super chat. Nate's meme saying Trump needs to go John Wick on the swamp creatures, and I think that that's what's gonna happen. If he gets in office, it's gonna be no holds barred. It's not gonna be where he's saying, oh, let me try to get myself, let me play nice with the Democrats, let me play nice with the agencies, let me make sure that I can run for re-election next cycle. No, I think it's gonna be a second term, like many presidents with a second term. He's gonna do whatever, whenever, all the time. Thank you, William Cordes, for the super chat saying, very busy chat, thanks to the mods. Yeah, thank you for the mods over here. I think that I'll probably have to make a couple more mods of people that are interested, that I've seen around for a long time, and if they want to, because as we've gone from, what was it? We used to get something like 500 people in chat. That was amazing. Like, I used to do conference calls at my old job with like 30 people, and that would make me nervous. And now we're sitting over here with like 2,500 people consistently. So yeah, I'm glad that you guys are here. But if we need more people in the mod gang, I will do it. Yeah, a division agent wants to be a mod. I just say that what is it? Standard moderator, right? Division agent. There you go. Just let people be mean to each other, but not too mean to each other. Let people talk. Not mean to each other. Let people be mean to me. That's okay. But as long as it's not too overboard, don't let people spam and don't ban anybody for no damn reason. You know what I mean? So yeah, I appreciate that. Let's see, Uganda Hater, thank you for the super chat saying Congolese, an Operation Human Shield. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that they would allow this mass migration to the country to use them as a human shield later on as a underclass serf peasant class in their country. But I mean, if they're not going to serve in the military, then I think that kind of goes out of there. So, because I said everybody is okay to make fun of me, that everybody's gonna make fun of me now. Hilarious, but okay. Nate's meme says, who will fight for the New World Order? Any volunteers? I think it's gonna be AI bots and people that get conscripted. That's what it's gonna be. Nate's meme says, government doesn't solve problems, they create them. Yeah, they make problems worse oftentimes. TJ McLaughlin saying, everything this administration says has been an outright lie. Every damn thing, just wow. I mean, where's the lie in that? I believe it. Haas Panda says, big fan Decoy. I've been watching since that one guy who ran over a baby and got probation. And that's the big change, though. That was when I used to do long videos, kind of like Tim Pool, where I would just pull up some stuff on the internet, some news articles, some Twitter videos, and I would react to them in this, like, picture-in-picture, like what you're seeing right now. But that was the first video I did where I did editing, I added music, I just kind of made it more like a crossover between commentary and documentary, and even added a little bit of jokes in there and kind of figured out what I would be best at, what would make me like an individual on YouTube, which I feel like is why a lot of people are subscribing now. But the idea that I'm glad you found me then, because that was kind of like my breakout transition. So appreciate that. Jamie J says, if you sincerely ask Jesus Christ into your life, you will receive the Holy Spirit, which is the down payment on eternal life. A relationship with Christ is the only safe harbor in a world gone mad. And yes, the world has definitely gone mad right now. Thank you, Jamie J. And let me see if I think that we've seen a whole bunch of them pour in since that. Let me refresh. Jamie J. Yeah, there it is. And then the new super chat since then was from St. J's Encoded saying, I appreciate your content. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for being you. Appreciate that. Dates Meme saying, that is a Lambo on Bidenomics. 100%. That is a Lambo on Bidenomics. Moses Espejo. I can't terrible. Sorry about that. But it says, what's your stance on giving you the peanut butter crunch tongue punch? Like, seriously, bro, you got me as What? Like a soggy napkin, bro? Come on. What? I'm sorry. Thank you for the super chat, but I don't understand that. Thank you for the super chat for the huge. What is this? Is this Mexican currency? I don't know. No, that would be peso. What's MXN? What's MXN dollars? I know it's a $5 super chat, so I appreciate that. What is currency? I just want to know. I'm curious. It is peso. Yeah, Mexican peso. So I appreciate that. Just and it's Alex just says just saying hello. So I appreciate that. Thanks for dropping by. But yeah, I think that this is it's crazy that that we've just been fed lie after lie after lie, and now it takes a person like me who it's just I would just say that I was a regular person working a regular job that was just kind of always making jokes at work, and this is kind of just transitioned into chatting with you guys online. So it's been kind of cool to make make a career, but also make it an entire community of 314,000 people that all agree, hey, we're being lied to in the mainstream media. Nobody's telling us the truth anymore. They're trying to mislead us. They're trying to backwalk us into a worldwide conflict with a country that is a nuclear superpower, and only now would that activate like people like me and people like you to start looking into this. I think it's crazy. Yeah, Jackie Spider says, you will eat the bugs, Decoy. I mean, I always despise the idea that everybody that's saying you need to eat bugs to help cool the planet, like Bill Gates, he admits that he'll still eat like a burger a week or whatever. Anybody that says you need to give up your two-way rights are constantly being protected with by people with firearms with themselves. Oh, all these politicians saying, oh, the wall at the border, that's racist, you shouldn't want that, that's a terrible thing to have, but they all live in gated communities, they all have armed guards. And then anybody that says, oh, stop driving your car, stop having a gas stove, or the new thing they're trying to say is don't have a fish tank now, because apparently a fish tank puts out as much greenhouse gas as a driving 1,000 miles in a car. All those people saying that I need to give up having steaks and having a fish tank, they still will fly private. They still will be with their 30-car motorcade when they go visit another country. Like, they don't care about the environment. They still have beachfront property, but they want you to think if you keep on driving your SUV, you're destroying the planet. If you live near the ocean's gonna flood into your house. Like, they don't believe what they say, but they don't practice what they preach, but they expect you to fall for it. I think it's ridiculous. Thank you, Nick, for the super chat saying, love your videos. Really appreciate that. And also, Anwar saying, serious question, why is the U.S. protecting Ukraine at all? I think it has to do with a certain guy's son being in a high-level position in an energy company overseas that he didn't speak the language, has never worked in the energy field, but then a certain guy that used to be VP actually admitted saying, or bragged about it, saying, oh yeah, there is a special prosecutor looking into my son's company, and, I told that country to say, hey, you either fire that special prosecutor or you don't get billions of dollars of loan guarantees, and god damn it, they fired the special prosecutor. I think that's exactly why we're over there. But what do I know? I just have tinfoil hats and toys on my desk. Don't come to me for information, I guess. But it's crazy that all this stuff with the environment and everything, it's bad and getting worse. And what we just discovered recently, where they said that, electric vehicles, they're supposed to be our savior. Thank you very much, Suspicious Character, for gifting 5 Decoy Voice memberships. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Suspicious Character. But the idea that they think that now that electric vehicles now pollute the earth more, not because of the emissions from the tailpipe, but the idea is that since electric vehicles have more torque, they can go 0 to 60 super fast. Like, I know you guys don't like Teslas, but I test drove one very recently. It was amazing. It makes me want one if I could ever afford one. But the idea that the Teslas, they can drive super fast, or the electric cars, they have more torque. They speed up faster, and also they're heavier because they have a battery. They're not like a fuel car, so they actually put more pollution in the air because the tires get burned out faster. So they say, yeah, even when we try to make it so the earth is is more cool with electric vehicles, with all the lithium mining and how bad that is for the environment, with how bad the solar panels are, and how bad the wind turbines are, we're actually discovering that even the electric vehicle is worse for the environment. So yeah, thank you for the super chat. Maybe Sunshine, the super moderator, the angry mallard, really appreciate that. Thank you to Nate's meme saying, if I have to eat the bugs, they will eat #freedom seeds. Okay. Thank you, Maybe Sunshine, for gifting a Decoy Voice membership. I'm glad that a lot of you guys are starting to join. And that's the thing is, Mad Dog Davis saying lithium mining ain't too good either, especially to the people involved in lithium mining. Like, you see those documentaries on it, it looks horrendous conditions, but somehow people are like, oh, but we're helping the country, we're cooling the planet, so it's okay now. I think it's nuts. Thank you, Kat Dean, for joining the Decoy Squad. And I hope I didn't miss, I saw people join the Decoy Squad during the chat, but I guess I should call that out as we go along. Sorry for all the people that joined during this live stream, because I didn't realize I wouldn't be able to see that until at the end. Thank you, Looney, for your first super chat saying, put these kind people into a Gundam. Tell them why. What do I have my Gundam? I have my this cat Gundam. He's pretty cool. But yeah, Gundam Warfare would be terrible. I think Gundam Warfare would be terrible because I think that what happens is me as a civilian when Japan sends over a Gundam into the over our cities and we're just entirely helpless over it. Like I fear for what the next generation of warfare will be, especially when obviously the next generation of warfare is. Oh, I don't have it pulled up anymore, but that crazy TikTok stuff that I'm eventually gonna have to do a video. It's terrifying what's happening right now. Thank you, Nylon Ride, for the super chat saying, environmentalists don't start wars. We still have Nazi wrecks leaking Hamats off our coast. We do? Oh, yeah, hazardous material. Yeah, all the ships that sink and all the battle cruisers and everything. Like, yeah, war is a terrible thing for the environment, but it's weird that you have this establishment left that no matter what happens, they're just so easily programmable, where whenever I see these activist types on the internet, I always say, I know exactly what you're into. If you are super, I stand with Ukraine, I can almost say, drill it down to a T, that you were very big on everybody needs to get the doses. You were very big on everybody needs to mask up. You were very big on BLM and social justice and defund the police. You were very big on Donald Trump as a bad guy. You were very big on it's Hillary Clinton's turn. Like, oh, Barack Obama was going to be changed. Oh, Barack Obama's biggest controversy was the brown suit. Never mind droning American citizens overseas. Never mind the idea of sowing the roots of racial tension in the country by saying that one kid, I forget his name, could have been his son. Who was he? I know George Zimmerman was the person that ended his life, unfortunately, but just all that stuff. They were in line, top to bottom, the same things, not because they have their own personal values, they have their own personal beliefs. It's just because they follow whatever the mainstream media tells them, and it's the idea that it's crazy how they can be very against paper straws, but they're very for all the masks washing ashore on our beaches. They're very against, they want to stop oil, but they're very okay with dropping cluster munitions overseas and all these power plants and these munition depots blowing up. Like, there's just no consistency with their ethics or values. They just say, the mainstream media told me to do something, so I'm all on board. I despise everything about that. Thank you, Rome Kid, for the super huge super chat saying, hey, Decoy, glad I caught your live stream and a big fan since around that video you mentioned before as well. Oh, the guy that ran over the baby over in Venice and Los Angeles, California, and pretty much got probation, but then later on he lost his life because I think he was somewhere at a party and got shot. And then even the mother was like, hey, if my son was only in prison instead of being out there on the streets, he'd be alive right now, which is a crazy concept to think of, but I'm glad you've been here since that video. And then Rome Kid says, keep up the good work, fun, lighthearted commentary, and that's what I feel like we need to keep on going down the path of. We're going to talk about serious stuff. We're going to talk about, foreign interference. We're going to talk about climate. We're going to talk about the war. We're going to talk about politics, but we're also going to laugh. Hopefully we laugh a lot of it at my expense, but I'm okay with it. I don't want to miss a super chat. Thank you, Backyard Motorsports, saying, when you buy an old Civic or Corolla for a couple thousand and have a reliable transportation, it's insulting they expect us to spend $80K on our EV. And that's exactly what the White House was talking about. Like, oh yeah, if fuel prices keep on going up, just buy an electric vehicle. Yeah, $80,000 on a vehicle that, like, a Tesla doesn't come in for a couple months anyway. They think, oh, you're living check to check. How come you don't just... you keep on running your AC, why don't you just get a beach house and vacation over there during the hot months? Like, they have literally zero in common with the average American person that's struggling, and they expect us, oh yeah, just as simple as buying an electric vehicle, you peasant, you peon. How come you don't have enough money to save the environment, you jerk? Like, it's nuts how they see us. Thank you for the super chat. Dinah, for just the first super chat ever. There's no text, so thank you for that, Dinah, for the super huge chat. If you're saying something, let me know. I'd hate for you to miss it. But yeah, thank you for that. And also, I know that somebody else was there too. I don't want to miss it. Oh yeah, I think it was just Backyard Motorsports had a duplicate. Okay, so I appreciate that. But yeah, no, it's just it's crazy, and that's the thing is like, oh, so Sangri Asraro says Decoy Voice talks sense, and how crazy that we can become big on YouTube by just saying, hey, there's lies in the media. Let me point them out. It's nuts. Yeah. So it looks like everybody's over here. Thanks, Willie and Cortez, for being here for such a long time. Appreciate that. But I mean, I will see you guys next Monday, same time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We go for about an hour and a half, and I'm glad that you guys are here for the live show, because as you know, 2 live shows disappear. That's just the way it is, so I'm glad you guys can hang out live. I know you like to catch up on the live streams afterwards, so I appreciate that too. Thank you, Loon, for the next super chat saying, imagine going to work just for a Fed boy to decide it's your day to visit camp instead of work. Yeah, sad, scary times right now. But yes, see you guys next Monday, and we will have a video coming out tomorrow if we can just get green lit in time or whatever. But appreciate you guys over here, but for now, duck off.